Terrificon is going on in Connecticut, and we've had some interesting reports about what's happening around there, which is showing like the shift in the tide for all these SJW writers and just exactly how irrelevant they've become. It's actually a bad sign for Marvel and DC Comics, who keeps propping these people up. But based on the lines there and based on what people are seeing, gosh, it's a disaster. And so this is humiliating, especially for Mark Waid, one of the most insufferable SJWs out there. And I've got a report from boots on the ground at the convention we'll get into in just a moment. My name's John Delarose, everybody. I'm the most trusted name in comics news, and I also make my own great graphic novels, and we're on our way up, my friends. We have The Hidden Emperor, an Ayla Rin sci-fi graphic novel on Kickstarter right now, and we are approaching $30,000. You can help get us over that line and back this today. This is a wonderful alternative to Marvel and DC. It's a story with heroic action adventure. It's got a beginning, middle, and end, believe it or not, and it's just enjoyable stuff like you used to read in the 70s and 80s before all these people took over. So check it out. Support our channel and support us as we're fighting against the mainstream here. I appreciate you guys for coming in so hard so far. This has been a wonderful journey, and the best is yet to come. We're still on our way back today, my friends. Thank you so much. All right, so Terrificon is happening, and as you can see, there's a lot of comic creator guests. You see some big names here, some Star Trek actors, the guy from Cobra Kai, and you got Jim Lee at the convention. You got CB Cebulski. This is huge. I mean, these are more pros than you see in places than you see in Comic-Con even. Everybody's here. Jason Aaron, Brian Azzarello, Mark Bagley, Eric Larson, Walter Simonson. The whole world's here. My gosh. And so that's what we got. Charles Soule. Wow. I guess this is the spot to be up in Connecticut. Maybe that's I think it's kind of a nice place that people probably want to hang out. Makes sense. A lot of these people are on the East Coast. And so from what I understand, attendance has been pretty good. And people are hanging out at this con, enjoying themselves. They've got a lot of great guests, not just from the comic industry, but from others. And we've got, Jim Lee doing a lot of interesting stuff. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award here. That guy does amazing work, always has. You can see some fans having fun. The vendor hall looks pretty busy. This is a stark contrast to what I've been reporting on with Worldcon. You can see that a lot of those aisles are pretty full during this stuff, and people seem to be having fun at the convention. This is an interesting one right here. A young woman cosplaying as George Perez wins the convention. This is interesting. You can see the cap and the fake stuff here. That is pretty funny. Really entertaining stuff, and a really great tribute to George Perez because George Perez, of course, passed last year. Very tragic. One of the best artists ever. Nicest guy in the industry. Everybody loved him, and this is one of those cosplays that's not going to get you a lot of attention out there, but it is something that, like, the insiders, if you know, you know, which I think is really good stuff. But that's not what we're here to report on today. We're here to report on the embarrassing stuff going on right now. Now, you see all these creators there. Now, Jim Lee's line is out the door. People love Jim Lee. They wish he would be drawing more because he's such a talent. It's really too bad we didn't get more comic art from him really over the years, and he's been in this publisher position instead. But people do want to see him. People respect him. People know that he's done a lot of work, even though with what's gone on at DC Comics, I think it's been a complete train wreck. I think he means well. I just think he doesn't quite get it. Is where it goes on. And he allows a lot of these people to do their jobs and do them poorly. Now, this summer's DC events have been absolute failures, and it's called Absolute Power. And there's all these tie-ins and everything, and people are not buying it, according to comic shops everywhere. It's got lower sales than expected. People just don't care. It's very ho-hum. It's a story about, like, the government is oppressing superheroes. It's been done before. It seems like a cheap knockoff of Marvel Civil War kind of thing. And you've got, it's a very weird story by Mark Waid with way too many tie-ins as usual. And so people just didn't get into it. It's been failing. And I think a large part of that has been Mark Waid's personality in recent days, in recent months. He went out and he attacked Mark Miller from Miller World and Dark Horse Comics. because Mark Millar was listening to retailers who were saying that they're sick of all the self-insert comics, the bad writing, the trying to do these replacement characters. And Mark Millar actually listened to the retailer and said, what could we do better as a comic industry, and actually brainstormed this from a constructive sort of thing. Mark Waid took that personally and then just lambasted the guy, started ranting about alt-right people in comics, saying he'd rather burn the comic industry down than share it with conservative creators. Absolutely insane stuff. And of course, he's reacted to us in this channel quite a few times. Now, when you get Jim Lee doing very well at a convention, CB Cebulski is getting some attention there. Chris Claremont's getting a lot of love there, from what I hear. Scott Snyder, his lines have been consistently long. I was actually a little perplexed by the Scott Snyder being the guy who's like spearheading All In and the DC Absolute Edition, because I thought perhaps he's not really enough of a superstar, big name to really get that going. It's him and Jason Aaron's going to be on the Superman one, and Jason Aaron, again, I thought was not big enough of a superstar for this sort of thing. But based on the lines at this convention, both these guys have actually got things going well. And that's not a slight on Scott Snyder. I actually really liked his Batman. I thought his Nocterra was pretty good. He's got a book through Distillery called White Boat, which I thought was very enjoyable. He's really focused on world building for his stuff, and a little slower pace to comics, which is fine. He's got some talent. He definitely does. I just don't think he's got that superstar sort of name draw. Now, like I said, he's got this going, and he's got a big line at the convention, from what I'm told. Now, the other thing I'm told is that Mark Waid had basically no line the entire time. Mark Waid has destroyed his clout, destroyed his interest from a lot of fans. His little tirades have caught up to him over the years. And from what my people were telling me, he basically was sitting there by himself a lot of the time. While Scott Snyder's line was long, Jim Lee's line was long, fans just are disinterested in Mark Waid. And I think this is a turning point. And I think that the slump in sales for Absolute Power probably have a lot to do with him personally here. I don't find Mark Waid to be a bad writer. I think most of his stuff's pretty competent. But you start having this kind of attitude and this hatred of customers, this hatred of half the country, this absolute bigotry all the time, like Mark Waid has. This sort of penchant in the industry for, he threw a fist through a wall once at CrossGen, according to stories. We've had a lady come out a couple years ago and say that he was shouting the N-word. I mean, the guy's just like clearly mentally ill and off the rails, and that sort of thing. As a face of a company, puts a lot of people off, and so it's no surprise to me that this is kind of happening. And this is to me a bellwether for what's going on with SJW Comics. People are tuning out. We're seeing this across the board. Comic shops in Q4 and Q1 this year really have had some of the hardest times in their complete history. And it's because these people are insufferable. They're not likable. They're rude to fans. They try to keep themselves up on a pedestal and act like they're somehow superior to other people who have differing opinions than them. Even as much as they screech about diversity and inclusivity, they do everything they can to make sure that everything's a monolith and the same and excluded everywhere. They're complete hypocrites, and they're liars, and they're just terrible people all the way around. And so it's catching up to Mark Waid. I think he's going to be on his way out pretty soon. I know he's got some DC All-In stuff that he's picking up after this. But it's time. It looks like he's getting put out to pasture by the fandom. And enough people have just said enough's enough with this guy that they're just not going forward with his work. And they're not going forward even to try to get autographs or say hi with him at conventions anymore. It's kind of sad, actually. I was a huge fan of Mark Waid's Fantastic Four and Legion of Superheroes back in the 90s and 2000s, and it's just shocking to see him go this way. But that's what I'm hearing is happening at Heroes Con. It's a complete train wreck from that level. Mark Waid has just humiliated himself and humiliated DC Comics to a point of no return. And hopefully there's going to be some more reports on this. We'll see what happens in the coming days and weeks here as we look at what goes along in the comic book industry. But like I said, I think this is a bellwether. I think things are churning. I think things are happening. My person says that the Chris Claremont had a 2-hour line to talk to him. That Capullo also had a very long line, and that's what's going on. So interesting. This is a huge Comic-Con going out there. Lots of industry professionals. Are you there? Were you there this weekend? Did you see anything interesting? Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to back the Hidden Emperor. This is a great alternative to DC Comics. You'll love this. I can't stress it enough, guys. Let's get this over the 30K hump. I appreciate you for being there and appreciate you for all the support. We'll be back soon.